All right, y'all, these are our hitter upgrades for the roster update coming out on July 22nd. We took last week off for the All-Star break. They came out with an update. It was all right. I thought it was pretty good. Came out with some nice new cards as well. Hopefully we get some great cards this week, but looking for a big update as well. And I've got, let's see, 9, 10, what, 12 hitters here. I think 12, maybe 13. Let's see if I can count properly. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 12 hitters here that I think are most deserving. Now, I can't do every single guy who I think deserves it because it just takes a lot of work. So I kind of pick my guys that are my favorites for an upgrade. In terms of, I think, most deserving, can get bigger upgrades, things like that. So I just focus on guys I like. And for those of you that have been around, you know what's going on here with this. We're going to start with Joey Votto. He's been a monster. First off, let me just say, and if you ever go into Boiler Boy 14's stream, you know that he's a big Votto backer. I am a big Votto backer myself. This card, even as a gold, is fantastic. So even if it doesn't get the upgrade, don't worry about it. That said, he was downgraded on May 20th, and since then he's gone 305 batting average, 427 on base, and a 529 slug with 9 home runs, 5 stolen bases, and a 22% strikeout rate, which is okay, not great. However, he's in need of an upgrade here, and I'm basically just kind of getting him back to his diamond level, taking him to a 90 over here with the contact versus right, 87 back up to contact versus left, 86 for the power versus right, and 75 for the power versus left. Vision goes back up to 55, and the discipline back up to 99 where it belongs. Nothing crazy there, just getting him back to the diamond that he deserves to be. He's coming back on again. For some reason these last 2 years he's really gotten off to slow starts. That's not usually like him. He's usually one of the more consistent players, but it happens. And he was really in the tank earlier this year. Votto was talking about how he was doing some swing changes. Obviously they weren't working. I don't know exactly what was going on, but he's pulling out of it, and he could have another monstrous second half. Go look at what he did last year in the second half. It was absolutely incredible. All right, next up, staying in the same division, a guy that we've talked about recently, and we're going back to the well with him as well. That's a clunky sentence there, going back to the well as well. But we're going to go with Matt Carpenter getting an upgrade. Again, this is something we've talked about. He needs to get an upgrade. The guy has been an absolute monster, and I'm not entirely sure what they're waiting for. Maybe it's a situation where they don't want to have him flirt with diamond, but if he deserves it, he deserves it, and I think he deserves it. Let's take a look at his contact versus right. Got it up to an 82. His power versus right up to an 84. Now you're thinking, wow, that seems pretty high. Isn't he kind of a slappy hitter? You got to get that perception out of your head. It's just not who he's been these last 2 years, dating back to the start of 2015. He had a big power explosion last year, and it's really continued. He's got a 311 average, 435 on base, and 611 slug against righties. That's an elite power hitter against righties. Now, if you look at him since June 1st, kind of the last month plus, he's got a 353, 500, 632. So he's really excelled against righties just recently, but all year he's been great. He needs to be in the 80s with both his contact and power against them. I think his lefty work can use an upgrade as well. Move the contact versus lefties up to 60 and the power versus lefties up to 70. And again, he's having his career best season against lefties with an 864 OPS. And looking at that since June 1st marker again, 333 average, 436 on base, 576 slug. For lefty, that's incredible. So I definitely think he deserves that. He's always known to take his walks. I give him a couple points there as well. His plate discipline should be up there. And let's see what that does for an upgrade. Going from 88 up to a 92, he's pushing diamond. I think that's what he was last time we upgraded him as well. We didn't quite get him all the way to diamond, but we had him really close. All right, staying on the upper end of things. This one's not a surprise. I mentioned this last time I did upgrades, that he wasn't going to get one that week, but that he would get one the next time, and that's Giancarlo Stanton. And honestly, he didn't deserve it the last time I did upgrades. The numbers just weren't there, because by the time they did the cutoff for that update, he had done a bunch of work after that. So he's just stayed hot. He's really getting back on track, which is really good, not just for the Marlins, or not just for himself, but of course for the Marlins as well, who've been doing really well on the field lately too. He got downgraded on June 24th. Since then, he's got a .310 average, .410 on base, .676 slug with 6 homers, but also a 30% strikeout rate. So he's still swinging and missing, but when he's making contact, he's absolutely beasting again. The power versus left really should be up to like 106, but of course the marker stops at 99, unfortunately. He's just been out of his mind against lefties right now. It's obscene. He has a .636 slug and a .364 ISO on the season. Check this out too for Stanton. He has a .619 ISO in the last month against lefties. Again, guys, for those of you that are new or don't remember, ISO, it's called isolated power or isolated average. It's just your slugging percentage minus your batting average. What it basically does is it takes out singles and gives you an idea of his extra base power. Anything over 200 is solid. And 250 is something that he can do regularly for the season. He's at 619 in the last month. Lefties do not stand a chance against him right now. So I'm also going to move up the contact just a couple points because he is still striking out. Contact versus righty, again, couple points because he is still striking out. These are basically token upgrades to acknowledge the fact that he has a .310 batting average since his downgrade. But again, he's swinging and missing a lot, so I can't go crazy on the contact. His power versus right needs to go up a few points as well. He's got a .458 slug and a .229 ISO. He started at a 94, and so I don't think he's quite back up to his old level, but 90 is healthy. This works. Even with the 56 contact and the weak plate vision, which frankly could go down another couple points, but I left it at 28. This card still works, especially if you're good at PCI placement. It takes him from an 87 back up to just an 88. So nothing, it's not quite crazy because those contact and vision downgrades that he took were severe, and I understand why. And most of the damage recently has been against lefties, which he just didn't have a lot of room to grow. So unfortunately, it's not a big mover, but again, I'm kind of warming up to this card, and I want to use it a little bit more despite the poor vision. There's been something going around the Twitch community suggesting that maybe in CS, in the more difficult division, that lower vision guys might be better. The thinking being that if you're good at PCI placement and you can hit the PCI regularly, it's going to be more rewarding with a guy who has a smaller PCI like Stanton, as opposed to, say, somebody, for example, like a Michael Brantley or Jose Altuve, who has that big PCI, who he might catch a piece of it with, but it won't be as solid of contact. So that's a working theory. I'm not sure it's necessarily been proven, but a decent handful of Twitch streamers out there have suggested that maybe that's a theory that's working for them in the CS division, which of course goes up to Hall of Fame once you reach that point. If you were here on Saturday, I previewed this when I told you, spoiler, he was going to be on here. And again, it's a guy that we upgraded a couple weeks ago, hasn't gotten his upgrade yet, and still is very deserving. It's Ian Kinsler. His power has been so back this year. He's not quite the diamond version, the Texas card that you guys might have, but he's been an absolute monster this year. I think his contact versus lefties can go up a few points to 89. He's hitting .347 against them with a 20% strikeout rate, which is pretty solid. 20%, it's okay, but the .347 average is, of course, monstrous. The power is where he gets the real big upgrade. 67 against lefties. He has a .247 ISO with 5 homers. He had 2 all of last year. All of last year he had 2. Contact versus righties goes up to 79. Just a little 5-point upgrade there to acknowledge. He only has a .273 batting average, but he has a 16% strikeout rate. So he doesn't have a ton of hits right now, but he makes a lot of contact. And then his power versus righties has to go up as well. I got it up to 61. He has a 196 ISO and 13 homers. Again, the power's just been there. This might actually even be low, but he's coming from such a low level right now that if I got him all the way up to where he probably deserves, which I would say probably closer to, say, 66 against righties and maybe 73, 74 against lefties, that's probably where he should be. I don't know that you can get that all in one upgrade. That would be a little bit crazy. But this is a healthy upgrade for sure. Takes him up to a 91, so from 87 to 91. And if Kinsler keeps going, he could be an August diamond, you know? All right, this is another one that I don't think should be a surprise. And this was, okay, so I think there was a miscommunication earlier, and this is only relevant to the Twitch stream right now. You guys suggested that I spoiled and said that Francisco Lindor was going to be on the list. I think it was actually Andrelton Simmons that I said, so you were maybe tripped up on the stud shortstop that I was talking about. But he definitely deserves an upgrade here, and he's right on the cusp. So this is a guy who will go gold if he gets his upgrade. It doesn't even take much for him to get there. He's at 84 right now overall, and so just a little upgrade will get him into the 85 range, which of course gives him gold. And that does wonders on the market. Even if he doesn't necessarily play differently, it would do wonders on the market. I've got actually a pretty sharp upgrade for him against for contact against lefties, though. He's batting .298 against them, and he has 1 strikeout in 62 plate appearances. That's insane. So I got it all the way up to 69. Now, I don't know if they're going to do it. That's a 20-point jump, but I don't know why it's so low right now. It's at 49. That's crazy. I think his plate vision needs to go up a few points as well. Let me explain that one. Nori Aoki has a 97 plate vision. That's the highest in all of live series right now. And Andrelton Simmons and Nori Aoki have the same exact strikeout rate, except that if you move out 1 decimal place, Andrelton Simmons is actually a tick better. So I think that they should match in plate vision with 97. That's it for his upgrades. So there's not a lot that he's doing. Andrelton Simmons is not a great hitter, but he's in the midst of a hot streak right now. He's doing a lot of damage against lefties, and he needs to get a big contact upgrade against them. I can't really mess with his power. He just doesn't have much power to speak of. But this will be enough. Honestly, he started here at 49. Pardon me on that. Jose Altuve going for a cycle. He's at 49 contact versus lefties. Even if he just got a few points, he would get to his 85. So this is overkill. But either way, I think he's going to get there. See, this moves him all the way up to an 87. Fact of the matter is, Andrelton Simmons should be a gold this week. He absolutely deserves it. He's been hitting too well for too long of a period for them to not give it to him. Next up, staying in the AL, going to the East, Jonathan Schoop. He's a really interesting second baseman who's just been mashing the ball lately. Last month, he's got a .397 average and a .274 ISO against righties. He's absolutely crushing righties. So I got his contact going up a little bit. He still strikes out a lot, so I don't want to go crazy there. But I got the power moving up to 79. So he's already pretty good against righties. It was tough to necessarily say that he has to get a definitive sharp upgrade, but I think they can recognize that a young player is kind of coming into his own, and it's righty-righty, which I like. I like guys who, anytime you can get righties that can actually hit righties, it's pretty nice. But he also deserves a little bit of an upgrade against lefties. I got 3 points there and here. So just 3 and 3, 60, 65. That's okay. It's not great, especially with the vision might actually go down. I didn't investigate that, but he strikes out a lot, so they might bump it down. We'll see if they do that. But either way, I do think he deserves an upgrade. He's at an 83 right now. Does this put him in the gold? It sure does. So I think he's definitely a gold candidate. We'll see if he gets there. Maybe, maybe not. All right. Now this is another one that feels like he probably should have had it a long time ago. And he's also on the cusp. So I don't know if Freddie Freeman's going to get it. Boiler Boy 14, Brady suggests that he's their platonic ideal of 84, and so that they don't want to change it. Maybe some guys are at certain thresholds for a reason because they are the perfect notion of what an 84 is, like the best silver but not quite a gold. I kind of disagree. I actually think that he deserves an upgrade. He's absolutely been a monster. So I didn't even have to go too crazy. Like when you're on an 84, you really don't need to get much to get into the gold range. So I just gave him 3 points everywhere. And let's see what that does for Freddie Freeman. Up to an 86. I mean, the team is so terrible. I don't know why they haven't given him the upgrade yet. That's the thing that I can't really understand. Sorry, those two things aren't necessarily related. The fact that they're terrible doesn't mean he deserves an upgrade. The fact that they're terrible means he stands out even more as being one of their best players. And over the last month, he's got a 282 average, 371 on base, and 553 slug. Now, in his last 14 days, he's down a little bit on that. He's actually only hitting 161. But he's deserved the upgrade from before that. So that's why I think Freeman still gets it, even though maybe you look at his last 2 weeks and you're not that blown away. The fact is, the real situation here is that he has a 534 slugging against lefties. And that 54 power really needs to be upgraded. So even if they don't mess with righties, let's take all three of let's take the 6 points off there. Let's just say they don't even mess with it. Was that what it was? Let me go back. Don't save changes here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Even if they don't mess with righties, lefty power alone should get. I'll take these 3 off as well. Lefty power alone should probably be closer to, I'd say 65, but I'll be conservative and just say 62. I mean, he's killing lefties this year, way better than he ever has, and he is a lefty. 932 OPS, 534 slug, I already mentioned, 5 homers in 151 plate appearances. He needs the upgrade. So however you slice it, whether you just put it all into lefty power or you do it across the board, Freddie Freeman deserves an upgrade and should be gold. Next up, this guy seems to get an upgrade every week. And he might deserve another one. But I had to address him because I know that he would be brought up if I didn't. He was just upgraded last week, but he has 3 more multi-hit games, and I don't even know what he's doing tonight. It's Rake Lamb, dude. Rake Lamb is out of his mind. It's unbelievable what he's doing. It's really ridiculous. Is he an 81 or an 82? I think Daddy Leagues has him as an 82, and then this has him as an 81. So let's update that. It's going from 81. So I'm not doing too much here with the contact versus righties, but the power. Why is it at a 77? He's got the 8th. Okay, first off, with the contact, he's got the 8th best average against righties at 322. But his ISO, slugging minus batting average, is 2nd in baseball against righties, 357. That's not a 77 power. And I understand that his 2015, and I don't know if he had any time in 2014. I know that his previous work is influencing it, but come on. We've watched this guy develop this year. We are, just over halfway into the season. I think it's pretty clear that the guy is absolutely beasting. I'm getting from the chat that he's 0 for 4 tonight. So I guess never mind. I lied. This is a total downgrade. Let's take him down to 0 for 4. That's disgusting. No, I'm kidding. But I have the power moving all the way up to an 85. Excuse me, 87. So I got to go 86, 87 with the power, with the contact and power versus righties. I don't know how he can't be in the 80s, in the mid 80s, no less. So that's where I've got him. That still only gets him to an 83 though, y'all. And I know you guys are waiting on gold, and I don't know that it's going to happen because he's not that good against lefties. And it seems that every time he gets an upgrade against righties, he could realistically get a downgrade against lefties. Now, I didn't touch him against lefties here, but his contact could keep going down, even if the power goes up. He does still have power against lefties, but even if they bump that up a little bit, and if they want to go full realistic, they would probably bump this down to like 45. But they haven't done that. I do think they could still upgrade the righty work. However you slice it, though, I'm just not sure that he's gold. All right, we got a few more here. Next up is another one that's been asked about a lot, and he fell off, and so I was like, okay, he didn't need an upgrade. He fell off, but now he's been back on fire lately. That's Aledmys Diaz. All-Star Aledmys Diaz, right? I think he made the All-Star. He was last upgraded on May 27th. And since then, he's hit 293 average, 406 on base, 493 slugging, with 6 bombs, 3 stolen bases, 16% strikeout rate, 14% walk rate. That's elite. I'm sorry, that's just flat out elite right there. Now that's only since May 27th, but that's an elite run. And he started off brilliantly, and now he's hitting brilliantly again. So it's time to get him an upgrade. And I think the power is really where he's really going to make hay if they upgrade him to where he deserves to be. So I got this all the way up to 62. He has a 243 ISO and 10 homers against righties. Against power versus lefties, up to 55. He's got a 173 ISO. I forget how many homers. He doesn't have a ton of plate appearances against them. So the home run count against lefties is never going to be really that impressive. I think the most homers anybody has against lefties this year is 13. That's Nelson Cruz. And it's just because they don't face lefties nearly as much. His contact versus righties needs to go up as well. It's up to 82. It's a sharp upgrade, but he's hitting 324 with a 12% strikeout rate. I mean, 12% is amazing. Contact versus lefties, got that going up a couple points too to 80. 296 average, 13% strikeout rate. His discipline is due for a big upgrade as well. Now, I think we've seen this trend throughout a lot of the upgrade shows. We keep talking about it. These guys, these rookies that come in, they get, for pitchers, their walk rate is super low to start no matter what. For hitters, their plate discipline is super low no matter what. So something around walks that when they come in, you got to prove it. Well, I think he started to prove it. I think he deserves at least a 55. If we're going to say 50 is average, which is about an 8% walk rate is average, well, he's at 9%. And then as I mentioned, since May 27th, he's 14%. Which is really, really good. So I think he deserves that upgrade there. Let's see what this does. This could be substantial. He's at 77. He's definitely going to silver, but how high? Up to 82. Nice. So I'm not sure he's going to get gold at any point this year, but that's fine. He deserves to be a silver, though. He was an all-star. He's been really good. He's had 2 really substantial hot streaks, too. And so that shows a lot to me because listen, you come in and you rake in the majors for a month or 2 months, that's all well and good. But once the league adjusts to you, can you adjust back? And he has adjusted back. So I think it is time for him to get the upgrade. By the way, I didn't do a Steven Piscotty upgrade. I think he eternally deserves an upgrade. He should already be better than an 81, but I didn't mess with an upgrade this week. If he finally gets it, that'll be great, but I didn't dig in on him again. All right, next up, Marcus Semien. Now this is an interesting one because it's one of those guys that's actually like a platoon guy. So, when they go in to do an upgrade, you could also get a downgrade on the other end. So you got to be careful what you wish for sometimes on these guys because they'll go in, they'll do the upgrade to the side that you like, but then they'll crush the other side and you're like, damn, doesn't even do anything for his market value. However, I'm not giving him any downgrades here. I think that his shitty contact here, it doesn't need to go any lower. So we're going to focus initially on lefties. Power versus lefties needs to go up to 80. Sharp upgrade, 13 points, but it's deserving. He has 10 homers. Remember, I said 13 is the lead. Oh, it was actually 12. Cruz has 12, and Bryant has 10. So Marcus Semien is tied with Bryant for the second most homers against lefties this year. His power versus righties could go up a little bit too, 5 points to 62. He's got a 184 ISO and 10 homers in 267 plate appearances. Keep in mind, Marcus Semien had 10 homers against righties last year and 437 plate appearances. So he's almost had 200 fewer plate appearances and the same amount of homers. So he's a power beast. His contact sucks, though. He swings and misses a lot. And that takes him from a 74? 74 to 75. Not really a huge upgrade. And the thing is, I don't run these beforehand, so sometimes they come with a little bit of a thud. We're like, oh, this is going to be an upgrade, and it's 1 point. But it is what it is. And the thing of it is, I know it's not sexy in the market. You're not gonna, if you're invested in Marcus Semien, first off, I don't know why. There's no reason for you to be. But if you were, this is not going to change much. But that becomes a great platoon player that you can use as you're working your way up through the divisions, or, of course, we always talk about these bronze guys in Battle Royale. Now, keep in mind, see that fielding, it's really, really bad, so I would probably try to hide him at second base. I don't think you want to be messing with him at short or third. All right, next up, this guy was a monster. Honestly, he might have my best numbers in the entire league, to be quite honest with you. It's really insane how well I do with him. Cardinals heavy episode here, not by design or anything, but And he was looking like he was going to be a breakout candidate this year after the year he had last year. Well, he really fell flat on his face after some swing changes and ended up getting sent down. And it's Randal Grichuk. But he went down, didn't complain, didn't blame anybody, got his stuff back together, dominated at AAA, and has come back up and has been beasting. Since his recall, he has a 1406 OPS. That's 1406 against righties, but only 417 against lefties. That's OPS. That's really bad. So this is one of those, again, where there's going to be some good, but also some bad. For those of you that are spamming pitchers in the chat, I don't know if you noticed, but we've done all hitters, and the title also says hitters. So, no. And Fenway, you got to stop with Stephen Wright. I'm going to ban you if you bring up Stephen Wright again. You're really annoying. All right, so against righties, I think he deserves plus 6s. Up to 68 and up to 72. But against lefties, I think he deserves minus 5s. And so, because he's come back and he's beasted against righties to like an extreme level, but he's been absolute garbage against lefties. And so it's a really stark split. I'm not sure that this is going to change much from his 73 rating, but we'll see. It's weird too, by the way, because he is a righty, so you usually expect the reverse. It gives him a 1-point upgrade still. And for whatever reason, like I was saying earlier, I have like the best stats in the world with this guy, and it's not just because of like inside edge. I used him a whole bunch when I first started, and he was awesome. Maybe it's just because it was in easier leagues, it was in the SS and the DS and all that, and BR. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know, but for whatever reason, I have a pretty healthy sample of amazing numbers with Randal Grichuk. All right, last but not least. Actually, it is the least. This goes in order. Actually, no, it's not the last one though, because I had to bring Lindor on to mess with him. Sorry. So this is not the last but not least. It's the least, but it's not the last one. Cameron Rupp deserves an upgrade. This one's not going to move the needle in the market. You're not going to gain a whole bunch if you invested in him or anything like that. And again, I don't know that you're necessarily investing in him, but he's been hitting pretty well, and I think his contact versus lefties and his power versus lefties both need to go up to 65. He's crushing lefties this year. That's something that he's done for his career. He's got a 342 average and a 290 ISO. For his career, he's at 296 and 234 respectively. But his contact versus righties deserves an upgrade as well. That's really helped him stabilize this year. He's got a 271 average, and his power versus righties goes up to 56 with a career best 193 ISO. So he's just been a better hitter this year, and I think he's an emerging catcher. I actually think we'll be talking more about him next year. I think this is a guy who can do some stuff in the coming years, but obviously not something you need to be too concerned with if we're talking about him next year. But I do think he deserves an upgrade right now as well. And that's a 5-point upgrade, though. Of course, when you're down at 70, it's easy to get a big upgrade. So I got him up to 75 here, not quite up to a silver. For those asking about Altuve, I've done 3 updates in a row where I said he deserves to go to 99. They trolled us by putting him to 98. The power still needs an upgrade. He still needs to be a 99. And then the last one. Now, I mentioned this in the stream, and if you've been in the streams lately, you know that I reached out to the developer, the ratings developer over there, and talked. We kind of have a back and forth, and we talked a little bit about defense. And I mentioned, hey, with it kind of being the All-Star break, had you considered maybe doing some defensive upgrades? Because I know you don't do those all the time. It's hard to kind of do those week to week. Maybe you get a few guys that have had a good first half. So I recommended a handful of guys to him. We'll see if he's interested in doing some of them. But I highlighted maybe a handful that I'm most interested in. I gave him like a big list. I don't even know, like 15 guys or whatever. But I said, if you were only going to take maybe 5 or 6, it would be these guys, and Lindor would be one of them. Now remember, a couple weeks ago on a previous episode, I recommended upgrading Lindor to a point where he might actually get diamond. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, and I certainly don't think it's going to happen this week because he's at an 87, and he would need a 6-point upgrade, but he needs to start moving upward. And I'm not even going to mess with the defense right now. We've done that. You can go find that previous episode, but I'm talking about the offense right now. Since June 3rd, which is the last time he was messed with, he's hitting 299 with a 359 on base and a 517 slug with 5 bombs. This is Francisco Lindor. You guys don't think of him as like a power guy, but he is. Like, he's got some punch. He's almost kind of that Mookie Betts, Jose Altuve mold. So I just put a few points here, a few points there, but then 5 points on both of his powers. Just, you know, just got to keep incrementally making him better. And I do think that at some point this year, he probably deserves Diamond. Again, I don't know that he goes 87 to Diamond. I don't remember what Bogart's, how his progression went, but maybe you should follow something like Bogart's. And frankly, I think Lindor is better than Bogart's. So if Bogart's can have Diamond, then so can Lindor. But we'll see how quickly they're able to get him there. This is only a 1-point upgrade right now. But again, I think a defensive upgrade could be in the offing, and they could move his offense up even more. I just went conservative with it because I feel like they've been, you know, I don't know why they haven't necessarily upgraded him yet. I think he should already be probably a 90, but we'll see what they do with Lindor. I would stay invested in him if you have him. I have a couple, actually, that I've gotten in packs that I'm just hanging on to right now, and I don't hit well with him, so I don't use him, but if they gave him that power upgrade, maybe I'd give him another shot. Hyphen Killer, I meant when Bogarts went to the 93, what was his previous rating when he made that jump? I know he moved from silver all the way up this year. Anyway, y'all, that's going to do it for the hitter upgrades for the update coming out on July 22nd. Don't forget tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. Actually, I might be able to get the pitchers done as a separate YouTube video tomorrow. I might do that because I'm going to be out tomorrow night, on Wednesday night, when I normally do pitcher upgrades. So I'll work something around that. No worse than Thursday night. At the very least, we'll get them out on Thursday night for sure. But we might have to figure out something, maybe an afternoon stream tomorrow. Maybe a lunch hitting up pitcher upgrade stream or something like that. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.